The Tories didn't get it when they were in power, and they don't get it now. After their illiberal and deeply unconservative pandemic policies, in which we paid healthy people to stay at home and wrecked the economy in a failed attempt to stop a virus, they presided over an explosion in legal and illegal immigration, the highest taxes since the Second World War, and wokery in our public institutions. Under the Conservatives, public toilets have gone unisex, which means awkwardness for women and a river of piss on the toilet seat, thanks to the men in there. Kids at school are being taught that they might be in the wrong body, and you can't even go into a supermarket now without being told someone's pronouns. All I wanted was a loaf of bread. I've had a parade of Tories on this show since that historic election defeat on July the 4th, with the same tired and complacent mantra that the Tory party is the oldest, most successful political party in the world. Well, it wasn't very successful 3 weeks ago, was it? Even when the opponent was the uncharismatic and frankly unpopular Sir Keir Starmer, who actually entered number 10 on Friday, the 5th of July, with negative poll ratings. But all I've heard from Conservatives since then is about how they are the natural party of government. Well, at this rate, they are the natural party of opposition. And they even face competition from Reform UK in that department. Reform could potentially overtake the Tories at the next election, having robbed them of countless seats at the first time of asking 3 weeks ago. As bland Tory backbenchers throw their hats into the ring to replace Sunak, the Conservatives at the moment are like the captain of the Titanic, claiming that there's nothing to see here as the ship sinks deeper into the ocean. They are in denial. Rishi Sunak, astonishingly, will remain leader until November. The process is far too slow, giving Labour a blank cheque to do untold damage to the country. The Tories don't need months of self-reflection. The message was clear on the 4th of July. They stopped being conservative, which is why they were chucked out and why Nigel Farage was gifted such a political opportunity. If the Tories had had sensible levels of legal net migration, if they had borrowed and taxed less, if they had stopped the boats and reacted to the pandemic more sensibly, which took into account the economy as well as the virus, there would be no Nigel Farage. By continuing to keep their heads in the sand and pretending that it's business as usual, they further cement Farage's position as the true Conservative voice in the House of Commons and as the credible alternative to Labour. Pathetic that the Tories have allowed this to happen, but there you have it. The Conservatives have had it too good for too long and have squandered opportunity after opportunity, not least with those red wall voters who gifted Boris Johnson power in 2019. He got Brexit done, fair enough, but he overreacted to COVID and trashed the Tory brand with Partygate. And Liz Truss did the same with the economy and that laudable but terribly executed mini-budget. Now, I am no Suella Braverman cheerleader. I see her as a political opportunist and a potentially divisive figure with a patchy record in government. But you've got to say she does have political courage. And while she may be a controversial figure, she seems to be the only person in the Conservative movement right now that has acknowledged what happened in July. Writing in the Telegraph newspaper, she said, if we don't recover the voters that we deliberately and arrogantly spurned, we will turn the Conservative Party into the 21st century version of the 20th century Liberal Party. And we could do better than being a collection of fanatical, irrelevant, centrist cranks who make it our business to insult our would-be voters for not being as smug and self-righteous as we are. Amen to that. Now, some of Braverman's comments are needlessly inflammatory. Her remarks are often two-footed. But she is a bold figure who, at her core, is a true Conservative, and they are a dying breed in the current Conservative Party. She's now so unpopular within her own party and so ideologically out of step that she may have to join Nigel Farage in Reform UK, making it the Farage 6, which would be a hollow victory for the Tories, who, in treating her so badly, are merely killing the messenger. Tom Tugendhat, Priti Patel, James Cleverly, Robert Jenrick, Mel Stride, they are all capable people. But do any of these names get your pulses racing? I do like Kemi Badenoch. She's got something about her. But when she launches her campaign tomorrow, will that too be more of the same? New face, same failed approach. Sorry guys, continuity conservatism won't wash anymore. The Tories deserved to be chucked out of power, and right now they're making no credible case to get back in. And we have a developing story, which is the former Home Secretary Suella Braverman, one of the most high-profile Conservatives in the country, is not going to be participating in the leadership for the Tory party, the election of the Tory party leader to replace Rishi Sunak. This is Suella Braverman, by the way, who has been very outspoken on issues around immigration and about the Conservatives' strategy going into the election. Of course, an election that ended disastrously for the Conservatives with their biggest loss in over 100 years. She has been excoriating about how unconservative the Conservatives have become. Speaking to the press in just the last few minutes, she said that she got the backing she needed to run, but has chosen not to. Here's the quote: "Although I'm grateful to the 10 MPs who wanted to nominate me for the leadership, getting onto the ballot is not enough. There is, for good or for ill, no point in someone like me running to lead the Tory party when most of the MPs disagree with my diagnosis and prescription of what went wrong and how to fix it." She said the party's disastrous election result was down to failures on immigration, taxes and transgender ideology. She added, "I've been branded mad, bad and dangerous enough to see that the Tory party does not want to hear this, and so I will bow out here." Now, this is a huge story. Back to me, Sebastian, if you can. This is a massive, massive development, and it comes just half an hour after my big opinion, in which that was the key point that I made, is that you can love or hate Suella Braverman, but she's a true Conservative, and she doesn't belong in this new, woke, plant-based Conservative Party 2.0. Glorified Liberal Democrats is what many of them have become. My argument was that she will be running into the arms of Nigel Farage. I think with this news that has become even more likely. Let's speak to my top pundits about this. We've got former Tory MP and farmer Neil Parish, journalist and communications advisor Linda Jubilee, and political consultant and Labour Party activist Susie Stride. Got to go to you, Neil. This is like half an hour since we discussed Suella Braverman. I think she's leaving the Conservative Party. I think she'll join Reform UK in a matter of weeks.
First of all, I'm not a plant-based Tory, all right? I'll get that.
Well, you make plants, don't you? You're a farmer.
I'm a farmer and I like red meat. So let's get this absolutely straight. But on the Suella Braverman, the problem with Suella was that on the Tuesday before the election, right, the election's coming on the Thursday, she sends off a blast, OK? The Tories not got it right, the election's going badly. No MP likes that when you're facing a general election. Had she waited to 10 o'clock on Thursday when the polls were closed, she could have said what she liked.
Ancient history.
It's not ancient history, not as far as the MPs are concerned. Now, I think what happened with Suella is, yes, she probably got the backing to go onto the ballot paper, but she probably didn't get enough backing to go too far when it came to the ballot. Now, look, we are bigger always than one personality, however big or however good.
You're going to tell me they're the oldest and most successful political party in a minute?
When you've got...
playing the Tory greatest hits.
When you've got people like Kemi Badenoch, you've got people there who can actually be there and I would suggest, would have just as much appeal as Suella Braverman in many quarters.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, like I said, I think It's Suella's choice not to stand. It'll be Suella's choice whether she remains with the Conservative Party or whether she goes to Reform, despite what you might say.
Right, I think, Linda, that Neil is another Tory in denial. I think it's catastrophic that she's not running in the leadership, particularly given that she has said she doesn't belong in this modern Tory party.
Yeah, but and that shows some integrity. I do not agree with some of the things, maybe quite a lot of the things that Suella Braverman says, and I certainly don't agree with the way she puts them.
And the tone, and the language.
But she is a woman of conviction, and I think she's made that clear tonight, because many people, with the chance of winning a leadership battle, would just go in to win. But she said, it's not enough for me to win. I realise now that part of the Conservative Party is not behind me. They do not agree with my diagnosis.
That's devastating. And that was the key essence of my Big Opinion monologue tonight.
Actually, it's a big thing for her.
She's been frozen out of her party for being Conservative. Now, Susie, you're obviously no great ideological bedfellow of Suella Braverman. But if she was to join Reform UK, that would be a coup for Nigel Farage and a major headache for the Tories, surely.
I think so. It's interesting. I'm just reading her quote here. If we don't recover the votes we deliberately and arrogantly spurned. There's good advice here. You know, she's basically saying they need to listen to those voters who only 5 years before voted for them. Why did they not vote for them? What is that about? You know, and I think that's good advice, and they need to listen to that advice. I mean, clearly, you know, I have very little in common with Suella Braverman. You know, I don't mind what party she's part of, to be honest. I'm sorry if that upsets anyone else. But, you know, her advice here, that they've got to listen. You've got to listen to voters. Voters aren't stupid. There's a reason why they put their...
Well, by freezing her out, that proves the Tories are not in a mood to listen. Well, they should be embracing her message of honesty, shouldn't they? I
mean, look, I don't know. I mean, they may just feel that, you know, she's a little bit too extreme. I mean, look, I think you've got the Conservatives here are probably going to have a better answer.
Too conservative.
I don't know if she's too conservative.
Mark,
briefly,
Mark, she had enough members of Parliament, by her account, to stand. Why doesn't she stand and test the party to see whether she does get onto the ballot paper?
Because she's tested it.
That's probably the issue. But if she is so convinced,
she knows the Tory party,
and she has so much conviction, she should stand.
Couple of seconds, Linda.
Susie said earlier about the party having to redefine its purpose and its vision, and she clearly is someone that can add some valuable information into.
Briefly, Linda, a couple of seconds.
But this is her choice whether she stands or not.
Couple of seconds, Linda. What is the percentage chance she is a Reform UK Member of Parliament this side of Christmas?
I think there's a very strong chance that might happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. That's my prediction, but we shall see.